In today's world, there's more and more information getting out about the impact of trauma on our lives. And more people are realizing that the adverse experiences that they experienced throughout their life actually created a trauma response in the body. So how do you heal from past trauma? I'm going to share that in this video. Hi, my name is Tiffany Toombs. I am a high-performance mindset coach that has worked with thousands of people across the world to help them release the past trauma that they've experienced so they can truly step into doing what they are capable of in this lifetime. Now, in this video, I'm going to share with you the mindset that you need to really heal from trauma, because most people start with the wrong mindset and that actually impacts the progress that they can make. From there, I'm going to explain what you need to understand about your trauma before you get started. And finally, I'm going to share with you the most important thing that you need to do on your trauma healing journey. Now, most people come to healing their trauma with a mentality of, I'm broken. I need to fix myself. There's something wrong with me. And while I completely understand this way of thinking, because that's actually where I started, I want you to know that having that mentality actually slows down the process of healing. Firstly, healing is not going to be a straight line journey anyways. It's going to be like this mess of, gonna look like a big tangled ball of yarn, but you're gonna be making upwards progress through the journey. But if you consistently think, I'm broken, I need to fix myself, there's something wrong with me, then what happens is you're actually creating self-judgment and criticizing yourself for experiences that you had that you likely had no control over, or that you weren't even aware that you were repeating. And so what happens is when we approach healing from that mindset of I'm broken, what it can do is it can take the wounds of the mind that we need to heal and drive them even deeper into the unconscious mind, which means we're not able to access them. And if we're not able to access them, then we can't start to heal, or we can't start to heal them. And then it's going to take our journey a little bit longer. So instead, I would love for you, and this is the most important thing that you need to do throughout your entire healing journey, is to love yourself. Approach your healing from a place of, I want to love myself deeper. I want to love myself unconditionally. I want to love myself wholly, skeletons, wounds, and all. And when you create that foundation of, I'm here to love myself, no matter what I've done, no matter what I've said, no matter the embarrassments, failures, or mistakes that I've made in the past, I want to love every piece of who I am, mind, body, and soul. This creates a foundation of safety and security in which your mind feels safe enough to open up. The thing about the unconscious mind is it has the ability to repress memories if it feels like we're not safe enough or strong enough to deal with them. I oftentimes have clients come to work with me who will say, I can't remember before a certain age in my life. Or I know this event happened, but I can't actually remember it. Nothing I've done allows me to access those memories. And that's because the unconscious mind is holding it back, either until that person starts to love themselves or until that person starts to create some emotional space so that that can come to the surface. So the more that we can shift our mindset to a place of I'm here to love, instead of I'm here to judge and I'm broken and something's wrong with me, fix me, then the faster this journey will go, the easier it will go. And there's going to be things that come up in your journey that completely throw you off track. Again, come back to practicing self-forgiveness, grace, and compassion for yourself, because that's going to help you move through a whole lot faster. Now, before I share with you how we can start understanding our trauma and the ways that it's impacted us, I would love to invite you to subscribe to my channel. I'm putting out brand new videos every single week, just like this one, to help you heal your trauma and move forward into accessing your full potential and power. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button and like this video while you're there. Now, one of the most common things that I see when my clients come to work with me is they understand one or two ways that their trauma might be holding them back, or they just know they have trauma, but they haven't really considered how that's impacting them. And it's important to take some time and reflect on all the different ways that your trauma is impacting you, the way it's limiting you, and the way it's causing you to show up. For example, most people don't realize that they are not the identities that they've created for themselves. People oftentimes take on identities as a result of their trauma. Now, trauma puts us in a mindset and a nervous system state where we believe that we are not safe. And we feel like we're not safe if we feel like somebody will attack us or judge us or reject us or criticize us for being who we are. And so we end up creating these false identities where we say, well, I'm a perfectionist, or I'm just gonna be a people pleaser and I'm gonna do whatever you want me to do. I'm gonna not set any boundaries. I won't have an opinion. And then you have to love me, right? And there are so many different false identities that people can create that ultimately hold them back. And so we want to start to loosen our attachment to belief systems. We want to loosen our attachment to the identities we've created for ourselves. And the way that we start loosening our attachment to them is by becoming aware of what we think and how that shows up in our life. So I recommend that you take some time, and this probably won't happen in one session or in one day, but just start to become aware of what are the thoughts that I think to myself. So for example, let's say I'm meeting a friend for coffee and they say, where do you want to go for lunch? If I have a thought of, I don't want to choose somewhere that this person's not going to like, I want to start paying attention to that, to those feelings in the body and to those thoughts that pop up when we're by ourselves, when we're with other people, because this is going to show us some of the patterns, the deeper patterns that our trauma is having an impact on us with. Most people, when they come to work with me, they have what we call the presenting problem. They know that they're procrastinating. They know that they're in self-sabotage. Maybe they know in relationships they ignore red flags, but they don't really understand the root of the problem. And so if you can start to do some of this work, even if you're working with a coach or a therapist, it's really going to help you have a personal understanding of what's going on. And once we bring something to the conscious awareness, we can then actively start choosing differently while we're going through the healing process. Now, before I share with you the number one thing that you absolutely must do with your healing journey, I would love to hear from you. What is a pattern or a trigger that you notice that you have that is directly related to your trauma? Go ahead and pop it in the comments below and let me know. Now, there are so many different ways that we can work with the mind and the body to heal trauma. There are two incredibly important things that you absolutely must do in this healing process, regardless of the modality that you use. You need to find a modality, number one, that works with the unconscious mind. A lot of people attempt to work on their trauma and heal their trauma from a conscious place, from a place of understanding why it happened, using the logic and reason to reframe why it happened. The challenge with that is that the conscious mind is only 4% of the mind's capacity. It is not the deeper part of us. And it's the deeper part, the darkness, the shadow side, the unconscious mind that ultimately is holding on to those belief systems and memories. The unconscious mind has no capacity for logic and reason. So in my own experience, for example, I started going to a talk therapist. And we talked it out, and I understood my trauma so logically, and I understood logically it wasn't my fault, but zero of my beliefs changed. Zero of my behaviors changed. In fact, my behaviors probably got worse after those talk therapy sessions because it just brought all these wounds up to the surface. So it doesn't matter how well you logically understand that your trauma wasn't your fault or why things happened the way that they did. What matters is that we work from it at an unconscious level so we can start to release limiting beliefs, so that we can release the emotions and release the memories. Now, the only way to truly release an emotion from the body is to feel it. So you have to play an active role in your healing journey as well. I know I personally attempted to spiritually bypass in my healing journey by going to yoga classes and going to energy healers who would move the energy around in my body. But again, it didn't allow me to fully reprogram the unconscious mind. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with yoga or energy healing. They definitely have their place, but they will not help you heal at the deepest possible level. We have to dig into the unconscious mind. The second thing we need to do is we need to recalibrate the nervous system. A lot of people do the mind work, but then the body is still stuck in survival mode. The body is still stuck in that trauma response, and that can trigger the mind to go back down into old mental spirals. So we have to work with the unconscious mind, and we have to work with the nervous system to get the shift that we truly want. Now, if you want to know how your trauma is impacting you or how it's likely to impact you based on the trauma score that you have, and get some tips on how you can start reprogramming things and doing the unconscious work, I would love for you to take my brand new free quiz called My Trauma Score. This is going to ask you 10 questions, and it's going to give you a score based on thousands of studies, and then it's going to share with you what you are most likely to see happen in your life if you don't heal. Of course, we always have the ability to heal and change course, and that's what I want for you. It starts with understanding what our trauma can do to impact us. All you have to do to take this quiz absolutely free is go to mytraumascore.com or click on the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.